What are key ideas for complex chess pawn structures? Imagine trying to solve a puzzle where each piece and pawn has a role that can change the entire game. That's what navigating complex pawn structures is all about. It's like a chess version of a maze, where understanding the layout helps you plan your moves better. When you see a pawn structure, think of it as the foundation of your entire strategy. Some pawns are strong and serve as anchors, controlling key squares and supporting your pieces. Others might be weak, like isolated or doubled pawns, which can become targets for your opponent. Recognizing these weaknesses early helps you decide whether to attack or defend. One common structure is the isolated pawn, which stands alone without neighboring pawns. It can give you active piece play and attacking chances, but it also needs protection. Opponents will often try to blockade or attack this pawn to weaken your position. Then there's the Carlsbad structure, often seen in the Queen's Gambit Declined. It involves pawns on c3 and d for versus c6 and d5. The plan here is to push minority attacks on the queen side, like b to b for b5, to create weaknesses in your opponent's camp. The Maroczy Bind is another example, with pawns on c4 and e4 against black's d6 and c5. It limits black's counterplay and space, giving white a strong grip on the position. Pawns also create critical lines called pawn breaks. These are moves like c5 or f5 that challenge the opponent's pawn chain and open lines for your pieces. Timing these breaks right is essential. If you do it too early, you risk weakening your own structure. Too late, and your opponent might have already prepared. Controlling key squares and outposts is another big part of pawn strategy. Weak pawns leave behind squares that can become perfect spots for knights or bishops. Holding these outposts limits your opponent's piece activity and boosts your own. Some pawn weaknesses are static, like doubled or isolated pawns, which stay for a long time. Others are dynamic, meaning they can be fixed or exploited through active play. If you have a structural weakness, your best move is often to activate your pieces and create threats. Your opponent might try to simplify the position or target your weak pawns to gain an advantage in the endgame. In the middle game, spotting these pawn structures early helps you craft plans instead of reacting move by move. Position your pieces to support pawn breaks and control critical squares. Knights work well on outposts in front of weak pawns, while rooks and bishops can open lines by pushing pawn breaks. Target your opponent's weak pawns and squares, often doubling rooks on open files or placing bishops on long diagonals. Understanding these ideas turns complex pawn formations from confusing obstacles into tools for creating tactical chances and strategic advantages. It's all about seeing the bigger picture and knowing when to push, defend, or attack based on your pawn structure.